This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Turtles of Grayskull Leonardo, heroic Ninja Turtle leader figure from Masters of the Universe Ninja Turtles crossover. Front of the package looks perfectly fine. Kind of funny that he looks like he's wearing a combination of Man-at-Arms armor and Skeletor's loincloth. And there's some little pad here that I'm assuming goes on his forearm, like with Man-at-Arms. On the back, we see Leonardo fighting the Shredder with whatever kind of armor they've decided on for this series of toys. An explosion from the Technodrome sends the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles across dimensions to Eternia. Now augmented with tech from Man-at-Arms Armory, Leonardo leads his brothers into battle for the power of Grayskull. So that already goes against what we saw in the mini comic, I think. Although I suppose, well, that was kind of weird because the mini, well, we'll go over it when we get to the mini comic. Let's open this up. Uh-oh. Oh, well, we cut into the cardboard. So I don't... So, I don't remember who the artist's name is. I feel kind of bad for not remembering it. But there was an artist who was doing mock-ups for a Ninja Turtles Masters of the Universe crossover back in the Classics era. And to be perfectly honest, those designs for the Turtles, I think, were a lot better than these. So we have our little informational sheet here that it would be nice if we got something like this with the G.I. Joe figures to show us where all the crap that they come with goes. And we have our mini comic showing the mutated He-Man facing Teela, Man-at-Arms, and the Ninja Turtles. Mikey having the long hair. Inside, we see a report coming that He-Man is getting ready to test some kind of tech from Man-at-Arms, where Teela and Roboto run in because there is a paradimensional alarm going off because, why not? I'm assuming that has something to do with them watching for Hordak, but you don't know. Although mutated Hordak might be kind of cool to see. So He-Man goes running off with Battle Cat, Moss Man, and Ram Man, which, since we've seen the mutated versions of them as upcoming toys, makes sense. After a few days, Teela and Man-at-Arms get worried and they go searching for him, where they run into Mousejaw, the mutated form of Trapjaw. And Trapjaw has all those mousers, and I can never get enough of saying they should have given us additional mousers. Now that I think about it, he was a deluxe figure. He definitely should have come with some more mousers. Especially since, the only extra equipment he came with was to make the MOTUO figure. The mousers apparently can reproduce themselves, which also makes it annoying that we only get one with Trapjaw. And as Teela and Man-at-Arms try to fight these things, not knowing what the hell they are, in comes a nunchuck with Michelangelo going, "They're mousers, dude! Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at your service, cowabunga!" So, there we have the introduction of the Turtles with Teela and Man-at-Arms, and Teela's got a nice little fist going there. By the way, I do actually really like the artwork in here, and as annoying as it was to get the international version of Donatello, I do like that I have a clean comic version of this, and I kind of hope I can get some clean comic versions of the other comics for the different waves when they come out. But we see them fight, and Teela eventually takes out Trapjaw thanks to Roboto. And we have introductions here where they're talking. Yeah, they mentioned Stockman's tech, so maybe we'll get a Baxter Stockman version. And with this based more on the animated version, I'm sure it'll be the Fly version of Baxter Stockman. And of course, Michelangelo just wants some pizza. As introductions go, Man-at-Arms has never seen anything like them, and they're not actually afraid of the giant turtles, which surprises the Ninja Turtles themselves. And I do kind of feel like these lines here on the upper right corner are reversed with who they should go to. Also, we get talk about getting a pizza in New York City, blah, 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 because turtles like pizza. And as they go and they take Trapjaw back to get ready to take him back, they find some of the mutagen, which has been mutated. And okay, so I guess actually this probably is where we get that thing where the explosion sends the turtles and the Krang and Shredder to the other dimension, then I guess. This little explosion at the back. Because at first I just kind of thought they all ended up there. But the problem with this story is that with them having mutated Mouse or Trapjaw already, it kind of feels like Krang and Shredder have been on Eternia longer than the turtles. That's just the way it kind of feels with the way the story is written. And of course, our heroes start making new armor to help fight because they don't know where He-Man is. And the turtles have no idea who He-Man is, even though Michelangelo has He-Man's hair or representation of it. But they do go ahead and chow down on some pizza, which I'm surprised they don't know what pizza is because Queen Marlena is from Earth. So you would think that she would have found some way to get a pizza made, unless she just doesn't like pizza, which would make her very un-American. We see Skeletor and Krang in his mutated body and Shredder wearing whatever weird armor they've come up with, because obviously he's not going to be mutated. And they pull the mutated He-Man out as a dangerous weapon to use against our heroes in the next comic episode, I would assume. And I'm kind of wondering if we will get a mutated Leatherhead or an armored Leatherhead or I'm honestly curious what they are going to do with the mutants on the Krang and Shredder's side with this series. I thought they announced Bebop or Rocksteady, but I can't remember offhand right now. On the back, we have the cross cell, Leonardo, Heroic Turtle Ninja Leader. Heroic Ninja Turtle Leader. He-Man, the most powerful mutant in the universe. Donatello, Heroic Turtle at Arms. Man-at-Arms, Weapons Master in a Half Shell. I hate whoever came up with this packaging. So, ironically, I complain about some of the other swords being too short in this line, and these two look like they are too long. They feel very cheaply made. This just, it does not feel good. The two halves of the power sword felt like they were made out of a firmer plastic than this. Like, this isn't going to quite break, like, say, the mace weapon for Man-at-Arms and Donatello, but it just doesn't feel good. And the handles, one of the reasons why the power sword halves have that little extra bit on the handles to help the figures hold them, and these do not have that. However, They do also combine together. To kind of look like this. So on the plus side, it actually goes together pretty well, better than the halves of the Power Sword do. But after clicking that in place, I'm almost afraid to try to take this apart. Also, because of the design of this sword, like He-Man's sword is double-bladed, right? So he can use it in either direction. You can't do that with this one. There's obviously a cutting edge on here and a non-cutting edge. At least that's the way it's designed. I suppose both sides could be sharpened, but still. Well, we'll take a better look at that later. See, now, this is kind of what I was talking about with the Man-at-Arms. They should have done this kind of a detail instead of having the pull thing in there. Not that these stay on very well either. To a certain extent, it feels like they're just like throwing a lot more armor and stuff on these figures to justify them. You know what I mean? So we get all of Leonardo's armor in place. He does not have a helmet, but it does kind of look like there are issues with the plastic used to make his head. Like, I don't know if you can see that or not for sure, but there's a lot of discoloration. It's got a very matte texture to it, or, you know, it doesn't have the same shine as the rest of the skin tone on the turtles. The head sculpt itself looks pretty good, though. I mean, there's no complaint there, and he's not wearing a helmet, which is a bonus in my opinion. So articulation-wise, when he's got all of his equipment in place like so, we've got arm can go around, but it's hindered by the furry part, which looks like it's the same furry part from Man-at-Arms. We can go up and down and up and down. The spin, again, like it said, is hindered by armor. We have an elbow joint on a hinge, less than 90 degrees. Can also spin. And even though it's kind of weird that when they used the arm pieces for Classics Beastman on the Braun Strowman figure for Masters of the WWE Universe, it all fit on really well and stayed in place. But these things, using the same kind of technique, just don't stay in place very well and suck. And I guess I was kind of wrong thinking that Man-at-Arms had the Ninja Turtle feet. He does have the split toe still, like you would see with like ninja boots, but you know. Anyway, we've also got the spin on the wrist and the hinge going in and out. We can twist at the waist. His shell is staying in place quite well this time. We can kick. Ooh, that's not bad. We can kick up about yay far. We can kick back yay far. We can kick out, which is good for a kind of ninja pose. Let's see. So we can kind of have him doing a high kick as long as we keep our... Well, I guess that would be a mid kick. Shit. All the joints feel real tight on this figure. We can do a spin on him like so. It looks like his loincloth is almost the same on the front and back. We've got the boot cut, and they did paint the details in the boots, or his, you know, ribbon color, headband color on the boots. We have a hinge and a spin. His shield does have this little holster thing. I think that is the same size as the one that came with Donatello. And the combined sword does not want to fit in there. However, the combined sword, let's see how it fits in his hand. Fits in his hand just fine. Looks like it's way too big. Being that Leonardo tends to use katana, that sword doesn't seem very practical as a weapon for him. I'm not going to lie. It just doesn't. It's too long, especially using a pair of katana, which usually you're not using two swords of the same height. If you're dual wielding, you would have, usually it's a longer sword and a shorter sword, or a sword and a dagger. And now we try to take this apart. This is the part, this is where I suspect something's going to break at some point if you do this a lot. Now look. Not that he can grip that middle part, but still. Okay, enough fun and games. So we take the sword apart. We can fit one of them in his backpack, and that's it. Like, I wondered if we could maybe fit two of them in there separately, but no, you can't do that. This may be one of the worst designed pieces in this entire line that's being reused. Because I'm going to bet that both Michelangelo and Raphael are going to have this same shell with the same thing, because that's what Donatello had. And again, because of how thin that the handle is on the sword, or the hilt, it feels like it's going to become damaged if you use it a lot. So my thought on this is that the sword is too long. The plastic is just feels really cheap on it. Like, so far, pretty much all the weapons that I've looked at for this line have felt cheaply made. And maybe part of that is because they're putting all this additional armor. I think I would like to have seen the Turtles come with more of a He-Man battle harness than these custom ones. So Barbarossa Customs, you know, if you want to make some custom Ninja Turtle armor for the, based on He-Man's armor a little bit better, I'd buy it. I'm sure there's others who would too. And if you find those images of that comic where they did the Turtle He-Man crossover that never got made, designed it after that, well, you've got something good going on there. Anyway, since he doesn't have a helmet like Donatello had, when we take off all of his stuff, we do get our Ninja Turtle He-Man figure right here. Which again, as I mentioned in the Donatello one, it would have been nice if this shell could also have attached to this back. And it would have been nice if they figured out a way to do that. In fact, I would actually have thought a way to do that. Like, these two parts plug into the harness, right? But maybe they could have put a thing here that would have held on to the handle so that you could have had it on here like this. That would have looked pretty cool. I'm also not happy with the shorts color on this. I think part of the issue is they don't paint any of the rest of it, and I think that just makes it look kind of a bit off to me too. But anyway, overall, I admit I'm collecting this because I like both Ninja Turtles and I like Masters of the Universe. Although Super 7 has made some Ninja Turtle figures, which I do have some of those. Overall, I haven't really found any enjoyment in the Ninja Turtle figures being offered in the regular stores lately. The movie and the last series both had no interest to me whatsoever. which is sad because the first series done on Nickelodeon was so well done, it was ridiculous. Oh, look at that. There's articulation on the bandana. That's cool. So my overall thoughts on this, I'm not too thrilled with the design of this figure. The sword is ridiculous. I do like that all the equipment comes off and you do have a basic Ninja Turtle, but again, they should have designed it so that shell shield could have attached to the back of the figure itself and not just the harness. Or make a separate harness that could have held the shell and looked more like the actual Ninja Turtle equipment. That could have worked. This definitely is more of a collector's line because so much of the equipment just slips off way too easily. It's more of a display piece than it is a play piece. And that sword just, to me, again, it feels like it's going to break if you put it together and take it apart a lot. And if you put it in and out of his hands a lot, you know? And it's too long. It's just too big for the figure. Leonardo should have a shorter, more, shall we say, elegant blade. Anyway, let me know what you think. If you've picked up any of these figures, if you've actually seen them in stores, that would be great to know because I still haven't, aside from Mouse Jaw. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Peace and love.